Okay, that was the opening. And this is me talking at the beginning of the opening, introducing Aaron William Freeland. Aaron William Freeland. He's I guess he's over there. There we go.
I'm out there somewhere.
Left is right, right is left. Got to remember that. And I'm Candid Frank, and you can watch us on YouTube. Candid Frank Stanisci 1030 on YouTube. I don't know if it's the sun outside, but my studio lighting isn't having the same effect it normally has. So I apologize for the tacky look of my screen right there. See that? I can't get that shadow away. It's terrible. I feel so. But at my age, technology isn't my friend. Something else as far as a lack of friendship, I think, is the National Hockey League when it comes to the Toronto Maple Leafs. We've seen various hits get penalties and suspensions. Yesterday, the Montreal Canadiens fans were complaining that there was a penalty, but there should have been a suspension. And nary one of those things happened to Mr. Tavares. He caught an elbow pad to the chin, a chicken wing, as some might call it. And I don't know if you've ever been hit by that material that makes up an elbow pad or a shoulder pad. It's not pleasant, even a tiny little. Now, when somebody does this and you're skating towards them, so the momentum of you skating towards them and then do the chicken wing, and there isn't even a $5,000 fine, the minimum that they could have given to say we don't approve of this. So I will ask you, was that a hockey play?
In the eyes of the Department of Player Safety, as headlined by former Montreal Canadiens George Parros, that was a hockey play. It constituted a player crossing in front of the net, not being aware of his physical surroundings, and running into the defenseman Artem Zub.
Oh, this is like that time we saw, what was it, a couple of years in the playoffs. One of the Leaf players got a penalty for hitting someone's fist with their face.
Yes, exactly.
Right?
The referees will contend that it's part of a hockey play. He is in a high traffic area in front of the net. He's not necessarily looking at where his opponent is. I can understand them taking that view.
That's an excuse, Aaron. That's BS.
I don't sympathize with it. I don't. I personally think 100%, it deserves something.
That's BS. And now on television, they use the other word, but I won't use it. I'll save it for another day. But it is complete BS. This wasn't an accidental contact. He raised his elbow. He raised it with an intention of making contact in a way that his elbow needed to be lifted. Coincidentally, it hit the chin of John Tavares. And are we being terrible Leaf fans? Maybe.
No, not in the slightest. I think that's a crime that should be punishable by death, by firing someone.
Maybe. It's possible. But the other thing, though, two things can be true. You can look at a team and say it would be nice if they won, and you could still see something done wrong to them. Two things can be true at the same time. Anyway, chicken wing, elbow to the chin. And the other thing that they're trying to suggest is that the league is enforcing diving or penalties against such things as diving. And so there was an implication that John Tavares dove. So I would like each person who's said, okay, he dove. I would like them to come with me to a hockey rink. I would like them to skate towards me, and I would like the opportunity to hit them with a chicken wing to the chin. I have a feeling they won't be lined up. There won't be anybody lined up because that's the fact. That's the truth.
You don't even have to hit him that hard. Heck, I'll walk at you in a hallway wearing my elbow pad, and we'll see how well your chin holds up. It's not a lot of fun, man, even with a full cage on.
Which is why I question the lineup that it looks like he's going to put out there. Now, he's still got another day to change the lineup. It is, after all, only Monday, and the next game is Tuesday night. But it's possible that he's playing, maybe he's playing four-dimensional chess, and the coach has made this calculation, or whether it's him or the whole management team is making a decision, making a conscious decision to say, let's not bring in somebody that would give people the impression we're bringing in a retaliator.
No, I mean, like if they were
raising the profile of the opportunity for referees to give Leafs penalties.
if they were looking to bring in an enforcer, this would be exactly the wrong time to do it. Mainly because it looks like you're bringing in an enforcer. The responsibility for policing during the playoffs is obviously not up to the referees at this point. It has to be done by the players. Now, there are calls that go both ways. Lorentz put a pretty big hit on another on another player, Stützle, from behind. That wasn't called. It could have been. Bobby McMahon came out of nowhere off the top rope with a flying elbow as well. That could have been called, but was not. So it goes both ways. Unfortunately, the perception out there is that everything that's done to the Leafs is well deserved, and the players from Ottawa are as pure as the driven snow. But we know that's not the case. And again, it stirs up more controversy. People get excited. People start talking about it. You get more web traffic about the NHL, and that's no publicity is bad publicity until somebody gets
to the point that we're talking about right now. Montreal ended up with a bit of a line dance with Washington.
Yeah, that was rather interesting, to say the least. They were issued a warning by the league, both to them and to the Capitals, mainly because Nick Cousins got fined $2,000 for shooting at Anthony Stolois during warm-ups. Arbor Xhekaj on Friday made a big deal about standing at the center red line and jaw-jacking with Tom Wilson.
Straddling the center line.
Yeah, well, and this is it's all part of head games. They're all trying to, make
it's like that face-off. It's like that face-off contact before the puck gets dropped.
Yeah, it's a lot of posturing at this point, and understand something. Domi wouldn't have gotten the penalty that he'd gotten if he'd done it during the play. The fact that he did it before the puck was dropped is what makes it an actionable offense.
He felt he had a right to do that because the Ottawa player butt-headed him, head-butted him. That's, you see the clear contact between the two helmets, which didn't look like much, but it elicited a reaction. And in fairness to the rules, the National Hockey League, and to reality, there has to be some restraint on the part of some of the Leaf players. Pacioretty has a reputation for reacting. We know now that for sure this season and in this playoff, we know that that Domi, Max Domi reacts, and you can't do that. You can't do that. We saw what happened. The minor led to a goal by Ottawa to take the early lead, which is a big thing in a game that you're trying to eliminate somebody. You're giving them hope to win. And what you want to do is the opposite, take it away from them. So we'll see what happens tomorrow. What do you think of the extra day off? Does it help either of the teams?
I mean, at this point, it is relatively early, but they did just play 3 overtime games in a row. That is tiring, no matter who you are. I don't care how in shape you are, how much of a beer league hero you are. Overtime games take a lot out of you. So the fact that they have an extra day now, instead of playing tonight, they're playing tomorrow. I think that gives them the opportunity to at least rest up. Now, it's not long enough for any injuries to fully heal. That's, obviously not.
Well, it does help with the slowing down of the gathering of injuries that happens, right? Yes. It's like the murder or death by 1,000 cuts, right? So you take a pause in the 1,000 cuts, right? So there's a little bit of a pause, a 24-hour pause, not an elimination, but a pause. So very, very interesting series now. Now it becomes something. It becomes a series because Ottawa has won a hockey game. It's still 3-1. There are other teams that find themselves in that situation right now, like Montreal being behind 3-1, but let's continue talking about the Maple Leafs. And so the path to the second round, you say it still remains clear?
Yep. The Leafs are still in command of the series. And, sooner or later, they should get another win. Realistically speaking, we would all have liked that to have been Saturday. However, at this point here, obviously, the goal has to become now win the next one. The Maple Leafs, just for context here, haven't lost 4 straight games at any point in this season. In addition, the last time that they lost 3 games in a row was March 3rd through 8th, and they haven't lost 2 straight games since March 13th to 15th. So this is a team that will have a bounce back game. They know how to come back strong from a defeat. They're playing at home. They were 27-13-1 there this season. And Ottawa's road record was 18-19-4 away from the Canadian Tire Center. Also, the Sens haven't won more than 3 games in a row since the middle of March. This is all signs point to eventually the Leafs closing this out. Even if they do happen to lose 3 in a row, which is unlikely, the odds are heavily in the Maple Leafs' favor.
Well, we've said that before. Well,
100%. And I'll keep saying that.
We've said it before. Well, there's for them to win. What I saw in that game that I found disturbing, Aaron, is I saw McMahon and Nylander fan on the puck while carrying it, fan on the puck while shooting it, and other players did the same thing. Is that a bit of the choke? Is that choking? Is that what is it? Why would players to do the simplest task, they can't do that, which they couldn't?
Yeah, there was a lot of whiffing going on there. I honestly can't explain it because Nylander's been in the league for how long now? 9 years. He should definitely be past that sort of thing, especially when it comes to the playoffs.
I mean, when he did it, it looked, when a guy like him does that, it's very noticeable.
Oh yeah, no, it looks very obvious and it looks very, very off-putting for sure. But I mean, realistically speaking here, these things do happen. It's a game played at high speed.
Contact?
I don't think he's hearing footsteps or anything like that. I don't think he's afraid to get hit or rubbed out along the boards. It's every once in a while your hands get a little bit ahead of you, and that does occasionally happen. He's been good during the series so far. I mean, when you look at the past 10 games here, Nylander's had 2 goals and 6 assists with 23 shots. That's not, it's not the pace that he was at during the regular season, but at the same time, there is a little bit of I need to get another goal going on here.
And I just think they need to play a little taller. I just found at the end of that game they were playing a lot shorter. Now, I don't know if the hit on Tavares had anything to do with it, but they were playing a little shorter. The evidence was there that they were not concentrating on what they were doing. They were distracted. I don't know. Were they already thinking about home cooking and winning at home? I mean, the joke is a lot of Leaf fans were saying, they just want to win it at home. They didn't want to win there. I don't think players do that consciously, but Aaron, subconscious is a strange thing.
Well, being able to win it at home in front of your hometown fans, even if it's a Tuesday night, is still something special to a lot of players. They love being the home team. Very obviously, as evidenced by their record, they absolutely love being the home team. So why would they not want to? To suggest that there's some sort of chicanery and skullduggery going on by ownerships and management behind the scenes to tell the Leafs to try to win it at home so you can make more money off a home game is ludicrous.
I wouldn't doubt that. I wouldn't doubt that you've got ownership going, man, the game wouldn't be bad.
Hey boys, we need to go in the tank for the next game. Just one game.
It's like, what is it now? About $8 million for a game they make. 4 years ago it was 5. So and the extra. Well, anyway, I don't think they're doing that. That's not what I'm trying to suggest, and just playing with people's thinking. I mean, it's an easy thing to believe. Conspiracies are very popular nowadays. So, go ahead, think about it, think it's going to happen, enjoy yourself. I think, though, the real answer is something that you want to talk about, and I'm more than willing to listen to your view on consistency.
Yeah, the Leafs lineup going forward, there have been no major changes. You still got Holmberg, Tavares, and Nylander. You've got McMahon, Domi, and Pacioretty. What they have done here, though, is they've switched McMahon and Pacioretty when it comes to which wing they're playing on. I don't know if that's going to have any genuine effect, other than maybe a change of scenery. But honestly, they're pretty much sticking with the lineup that got them to the dance in the first place. If there were going to be any changes, I might have expected maybe Kampf or Robertson to draw back in, but that doesn't seem to be the case at this point. As it
I
pertains
think
to
they could use
goalies,
a guy like Robertson. I think they could use a guy like Robertson who's scoring after a couple of days off, elevates. Oh, maybe they're saving him for in case there's another game.
you never know. I mean, at this point here, they've got Wool listed as day-to-day and being a game-time decision as well. I'm not sure if there's a little gamesmanship going on there, but I don't recall hearing anything about him potentially being injured or hurting himself in practice or anything like that. Again, this could be just Berube playing his cards closer to the vest.
Yeah, that definitely is the case. Okay, so tell me about Wilson's big hit against Montreal.
So there was a very, very big open ice hit that Tom Wilson laid. He laid out Alexandre Carrier, which led to a tying goal, which sparked the Capitals to a 5-2 win in Game 4. He is one of those guys where when he wants to play hockey, he can play hockey very well. When he wants to be a pot stirrer, he can be a very big pot stirrer. As evidenced by some of the chicanery that went on in previous games where he ended up fighting on the bench with Sanderson at one point. But yeah, his hit provided the impetus that led to a goal. So, it's one of those things where it was a absolutely crushing hit. Logan Thompson was back. People were concerned. He left with an injury late in Game 3 on Friday. But yeah, this is
during the game. It appears.
No, apparently he just needed a little time and needs to get a little bit of ice on it. So.
Montreal didn't really give him a hard time, so he had a chance to rest up during the game. It was something to behold, that's for sure. So speaking of the Canadiens and the Capitals, the league shook their finger at him, saying, that stuff you did in the last game, we'll have none of that. No more going on the bench to fight, please. Thank you very much.
Yeah, and again, $25,000 fines for both teams. So Capitals and Canadiens were both fined as well. So, it's one of those straighten up and fly right moments for the league where they're trying to at least try to make the game look partially gentlemanly, even though we both know it's not.
That's not the intention. That's for sure. So there was nothing special in the overtime loss by the Leafs that Ottawa can claim.
No, and nothing special in that special teams can either make or break your hopes in the Stanley Cup playoffs. The Leafs had a 4-minute power play in overtime
without Tavares,
and they were unable to put it away
after scoring 4 goals in 58 seconds.
Yeah,
a power play time.
The Leafs are, like I said before, the Leafs are currently in the driver's seat with a 3-1 lead. But that last game definitely gave them a little bit of a boost. After scoring 5 goals on 9 power plays in the first 3 games of the series, the Leafs went 0-for in Game 4. Drake Batherson high stick Chris Tanev in the face, which resulted in the double minor. The Leafs had 5 shots on Linus Ullmark, and none went in. Matthews also hit the post. I think that was the loudest ding I've ever heard in my life. He was, it would have been nice to have John Tavares at that point, but unfortunately he was in the room getting seen to.
He was missed, I think, and we've seen him in the playoffs get a couple of power play goals, those 5-second power play goals. He was the guy, was the trigger man. And, he's a very strong man on the puck. He's a very strong man in front. The only thing that'll take him down is an elbow to the chin. We've learned that. So let's see what happens. Does he come back healthy this extra day to have the cobwebs sort of completely disappear? Maybe it's a good thing for him this extra day. So as far as I can tell, that was a terrible for the Leafs and a great confidence builder for the Sens. And that was a goal by Sanderson that was eerily similar to the one that Benoit had.
Very much so. And talk about taking advantage of your opportunities when you get them. Ottawa had 1 shot on goal in the second period and 3 shots on goal in the third. That's a very defensively tight Maple Leafs team that we're not used to seeing.
And proves the point that no matter how well you play, you got to play better. I know that sounds silly, but they played beautifully, but it wasn't good enough.
And when OEL scored his goal, that was actually the 5th goal by a Leafs defenseman in the series.
Yeah, no kidding.
A lot of their offense is being generated off the back end.
They didn't have 5 goals by a defenseman all year.
No.
82 games. And we're talking in 4 games, we're talking 5 goals. Yeah, no, I want to make this clear as well, that the Ottawa team, the Senators, were well worth the victory. They did what they needed to do to win. They staved off the unfortunate situation that they're in. They've made it a little better, 3-1, and now things change drastically if they win in Toronto. Drastically, they go back home for Game 6, and then to Toronto for Game 7. So the Leafs have their work in front of them. They have to do better. They didn't. Let's take a look at other places. The Jets. Oh, Aaron, I can't express to you how disappointed I am that Hellebuck's play in the playoffs has returned.
Yeah, some podcasters I follow and talk with have been talking about a Connor Hellebuck fraud watch, with regards to this sort of thing. And it was Hellebuck versus Binnington. Where have we seen those two play against each other before? Braden Shen, Tyler Tucker, and Justin Falk each scored second period goals. Robert Thomas and Jake Neighbors also scored, and Binnington had 30 saves for St. Louis. They've now won 14 straight regular season and playoff games at home, dating all the way back to the tail end of February. Kyle Connor came up big. Connor Hellebuck only made 13 saves before being pulled. Eric Comrie only had to make 5 saves. But yeah, Hellebuck has allowed at least 4 goals in 10 of his last 13 playoff appearances. I'm not sure what it is about the Stanley Cup playoffs for this guy. He had a fabulous regular season, and all of a sudden the wheels just seem to be absolutely coming off here, and I can't explain it.
I can say this, though. I won't be able to explain it, but I can identify one of his biggest problems. He's very sluggish in his net. He doesn't at this time, the way he's allowing goals that he has plenty of time to smother the puck and doesn't. He has plenty of opportunity to set up in goal when a player's, coming down the ice, and he doesn't. And it's like I don't know, like he's playing in slow motion. Or is it because I really don't know the way he plays goal and I don't see him enough to understand that that's the way he plays? The goals that he allowed, there were 2 of them, I think, in the game that looked a lot like the ones that the Leaf goalie let in. The one where he tried to grab the puck with his stick instead of just going and putting his stick in front, right? Those kinds of decisions and that kind of action has been a problem for both those goaltenders. I think we've got it straightened out in Toronto, but they need to straighten out in Winnipeg. The good news is they're going back home. It's a best of 3 now, and Winnipeg hopefully can recover. They were my odds-on favorite, to win the cup. I'm doing what I call my O Canada watch, and they were my not favorite because I want them to win, but because simply I felt, factually speaking, they were the best ready to win the cup. And now, things have changed in the last couple of months. And because of where the Leafs are right now, they're the best chance to win the cup. And my real frightening thought is that I'm not sure if Winnipeg doesn't win this round, the only team that'll be around is whoever wins between Ottawa and Toronto. That's my nightmare. That's my Canada watch going down the drain, all in one series.
And Montreal, as hopeful as fans have every right to be, I'm not sure if they have what it takes to beat the Capitals. Really, I mean that team has been and is a wrecking ball. They've been right behind the Winnipeg Jets all season, and you have to wonder. Well, you don't have to, but those of us who are deeply superstitious have to wonder about whether or not winning the President's Trophy was what's currently affecting the Jets. I don't think it is personally.
Well,
I know this team it's a well put together, well coordinated team. They should be able to beat the Blues.
I believe, and I might be wrong, but I might not be wrong. I believe only one team that was President's Trophy winner has gone on to win the Cup in the past 20 years.
I think you may be right on that one, and it's
very close to that.
It is one of those strangely undefinable things. You're the best team in the league in the regular season. It should absolutely be a walk for you to win the Cup, but it just doesn't seem to have worked out that way at all. Now, the most recent team to win both the President's Trophy and the Stanley Cup was actually the Chicago Blackhawks from 2012-2013. That's the only team that's done
when they won the Cup. Did the Rangers do that when they won the Cup? I don't think either of the Florida teams were first overall.
Not as far as I recall, no.
The Florida wasn't first of all when they won the Cup last year. I don't think.
No, they weren't.
I think it was Colorado or Vegas. Anyway, it doesn't matter. The point is that's a heavy burden to carry into the playoffs, being the best team during the season. It's a heavy burden. Let's talk about Draisaitl. God, I love that guy.
He has this clutch ability to find the back of the net when he absolutely needs to. And again, special teams here. Edmonton was on the power play, 18-18 of overtime. After getting assists on Edmonton's first 3 goals, Draisaitl finally got on the other side of the score sheet by beating Kemper off the right side off of a scramble. And that's thanks to Vladislav Gavrikov tripping up Connor McDavid. That sort of thing is going to happen in overtime. McDavid will burn you if you're definitely not careful. Evan Bouchard got to play a bit of a hero when he tied it with 29 seconds left.
Great shot from the point.
Oh, yeah. No, and you know what? Defenseman scoring so far this postseason has, I think, been the highest it's ever been. And that gives you something else to watch out for. It's kind of heartening.
I was waiting for how long it would take. The Pittsburgh Penguins have gone, they've worked away from Mike Sullivan. 2 Stanley Cups, last 10 years. Adios, amigo.
Yeah, he went 34-36 during the 2024-2025 NHL season. Kyle Dubas thanked Sullivan for his contribution. He said, "I want to thank Mike for his unwavering commitment and loyalty to the team and the city of Pittsburgh over the past decade. Mike's known for his preparation, focus, and fierce competitiveness. I was fortunate to have a front row seat to his dedication to this franchise for the past 2 seasons. He'll forever be an enormous part of Penguins history, not only for the impressive back-to-back cups, his impact on the core of Crosby, Malkin, Letang, and Rust, but more importantly for his love and loyalty to the organization. He is under contract with his team through the 26-27 NHL season, but the Penguins are going to be searching for his replacement immediately as per their statement."
I wonder who that's going to be. Probably a former coach of the London Knights. No, Sault Ste. Marie Greyhounds.
It's entirely possible that could happen because you know what? Dubas loves his guys.
His buddy's already got a job, and I don't think New Jersey will fire him even if they're eliminated.
Yeah, with Sullivan going there, he ends his term with Pittsburgh with 409 wins. He's the winningest coach in franchise history.
Philadelphia or New York?
That's a good question. It'd be interesting to see where he ends up.
Division. I'm convinced he's going to go to the Atlantic Division. That's
my money.
Go ahead.
My money would be on Philadelphia then as a change from Tortorella.
There's a guy that's probably not going to coach in Vancouver that they're talking could end up in Philadelphia.
that could actually be really interesting as well. We'll have to see how it all shakes down after.
Those two guys are probably those two guys are going to take those two coaching jobs, the Rangers and Philadelphia. Am I just assuming the Rangers need a new coach? Well, I'll tell you, the kind of season they had, they need to make a big change.
Yeah, and you know what? They already started with some of their players, so the coach is the next logical choice, right?
Absolutely. All right, last story. Well, no, not last story. We'll talk about the Bruins. So, what are the Bruins up to?
Well, you know, they've not shut the door on promoting interim head coach Joe Sacco to the full-time position.
Former Leaf.
But management just said, look, hey, we're considering all of our options here. Obviously, Mike Sullivan is now in the mix because he was just released. He previously coached the Bruins for the 2003, 04, and 05-06 seasons, where he was 70, 56, 15, and 23 behind the bench. He also played for the Bruins for the 97-98 season. So there is that possibility that they could bring in a familiar face back. You know, this is, again, one of those things that they can't rush. You know, as much as you'd like to have them announce it, I'm pretty sure they'll have a coach.
He's gonna write his own ticket. Who are we kidding? How do you not hire him?
Yeah, no, that's true.
Somebody's going to hire him. He's going to pick where he's going. He's going to get a really good contract. Anybody who doesn't want to hire him doesn't know anything about hockey. You know, Pittsburgh, well, it was a gong show. Ever since Dubas arrived there, it was a gong show. It started with Dubas trying to get rid of him. Dubas didn't want him there in the first place.
Well, he finally had a reason to. But, you know, any coach that can get Phil Kessel to be a two-time Stanley Cup champion is probably somebody you'll want to consider.
Well, there's that. There's that.
You know?
Now, I guess, how about talk to me about Canadian pride in the NHL?
Well, there's been growing sentiment as of late. What with the elections today, by the way, folks, I'm not going to tell you who to vote for, but I am telling you to get out there and vote. You've got another 2.5 to 3 hours before the polls close. If you get there before the polls close and there's a line, don't leave. But as Canadian pride grows, more fans want any team to end Canada's cup drought as opposed to any one specific team. Angus Reid released a poll on Friday saying that 71% of Canadian hockey fans said that they were cheering for any Canadian team to win this year's Stanley Cup, not just their favorite squad. Now, this is up from 64% who said the same thing in 2024 and 57% from 2016. This all stems from,
it's been a
Donald
while.
Trump going on about Canada being the 51st state and us saying, heck no.
He's still doing it.
Oh, I know. Even today, he's still doing it. 3 in 10 Canadian hockey fans want the Leafs to win. Same goes for the Habs. The Edmonton Oilers finished third in a poll with 18%, followed by Winnipeg, 15%, and Ottawa, just 6%. But, at this point, I'm willing to take any Canadian team winning it. I would prefer that my team win it, but if that's not to happen, then I understand.
I have preferences.
Mm-hmm.
I don't want to be a liar. I have preferences. There's teams I'd prefer to win over other teams.
Of course.
But I got to say this. It doesn't matter. As long as it's a Canadian team that wins, I just want to see, the look on Bettman's face, because I know he'll be very unhappy and it'll show. Mind you, he might be able to fake it a little bit. No, his tenure as the president of the National Hockey has been terrible for Canadian hockey teams. Terrible. Just downright.
It's been absolutely brutal.
Follow the money, follow the president, follow the organization. What the heck? Well, anyway, here's hoping. I'm not really. I wouldn't really be devastated if Ottawa makes the comeback and wins. I think they're a team that could surprise a few teams. Their youth and their toughness could carry them further. I don't know what Florida and Tampa look to be going for 7, man. They look like they're going to be going for 7 games the way they're playing. Throwing punches.
Oh, yeah, this looks like another slobber knocker going down in Florida. So I'll be interested in tuning into that tonight at 7 o'clock. And then there's Avs Dallas tonight at 9:30 as well. Both of those series, Florida's up 2-1 on Tampa Bay, and Colorado and Dallas are tied 2-2. So we'll have to see how all of that shakes out tonight.
Well, Tampa's hoping to turn the trick that 4 road game with victories. That's what they're trying to accomplish.
Yep. And when we come back on Wednesday, hopefully we'll have a little more to talk about vis-a-vis the Leafs and the Sens.
Oh, we'll definitely have more to talk about. There'll be a game to talk about, and we'll see how happy certain Leaf fans that are on, not to say on this show, but, I wish you a lot of luck, Aaron. Have a great day, buddy. Thanks for doing this.
Thanks, Frank.
My pleasure. Well, we'll see you next time, folks. Don't forget Candid Frank Stanisci on YouTube.